Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a comparison between our old Ninja Foodi Pro pressure cooker and the all-new Ninja Foodi pressure cooker steam fryer with smart lid. That's a mouthful. Which one should you buy? I don't know, that's why we're here. So you ready? Let's get into this. So right here we have our two pressure cookers. This one right here is the older Ninja Foodi Pro pressure cooker. And this one right here is the new Ninja Foodi pressure cooker with the smart lid. These two machines are very similar, with the main difference being that smart lid. On the old machine, if you wanted to actually pressure cook, you would have to open the lid, and then you would have to put on a second lid that's designed for pressure cooking. Lock it into place, set it to pressure cook, and then from here you'd either select low or high pressure, the amount of time you want to pressure cook for, and then you would just go ahead and start it up. On the new machine, all the functions are married into one lid, and you would just use the slider to determine what you want to do. So if you wanted to use the steamer and or crisper, you'd be in the middle. If you wanted to flip it onto the main section where most of your options are, that would come over to this side, and then you'd have all of these different functions available. And if you wanted to pressure cook, you would just flip this over the other way here, and again you'd either select high or low pressure and the amount of time, and you start it the same way you would on the older machine. If we open the smart lid up, you can see how this is put together. It's got these internal vents that will be open or closed depending on which function we're using. It's got your broiling and crisping element right here. And in the back here, you can see the fan that's used for several of the functions, especially for the air fry. Also, looking into the lid from the bottom, you can see the bottom of the pressure relief valve as well. On the inside of the lid of the Foodi Pro, behind the guard, you can see the crisping element here. And if you look really closely, you can see the fan back there as well. Obviously, there's nothing in this lid for pressure cooking because all of the pressure cooking function is in this lid right here. The extra parts that come with these machines are pretty much identical. For the older Foodi Pro pressure cooker, you have your reversible rack, giving you the ability to change the height of foods that are in your machine. You can turn it this way if you're going to broil stuff, or you can turn it this way if you're going to bake. Also, if you have it turned around this way, you have room underneath here to do multi-layer dishes. In addition to this, you also have a crisping plate and your 6.5 quart non-stick pot. In the new machine, it's pretty much the same story. Once again, you have that same reversible rack, except this one's a little bit taller, the exact same crisping plate, and the exact same 6.5 quart non-stick pot. Here you can see the height difference of the reversible rack. This one's from the Ninja Foodi Pro, and this one is from the smart lid version. You can see this one's a little bit taller, so if you were cooking something multi-layer, this will fit just a little bit more underneath it. If you flip them over the other way, like this, then they turn out almost exactly the same height. So for what it's worth, you do end up with a tiny bit more space on the new one. The old Ninja Foodi Pro has the water reservoir on the back here, and on the new machine it's sort of on the side. I like the way they designed the drain on the new machine. They both work perfectly well, but on the new machine it's a little bit easier to keep that clean. Because as you can see when I open this up, the drain track just kind of follows the outer lip of the machine itself. Whereas on the new machine, it kind of comes around up underneath here and it kind of drains down through this hole. It works perfectly fine and we didn't have any problems with this. I just personally like the other design better. As far as functions go on the old machine, you have pressure cooking, steaming, slow cooking, yogurt, sear, saute, sous vide, air crisp, bake, roast, broil, and dehydrate. Functions on the new machine include the pressure cooking, steam and crisp, steam and bake, air frying, broiling, baking, roasting, dehydrating, proofing, searing, sauteing, steaming, sous vide, slow cooking, and yogurt. So if you add them all up, Ninja has added a few new functions to their new machine. By the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. For our pressure cooker test, we set the two machines up next to each other and timed how long they take to pressurize both in high and low pressure modes. To test the pressurization on these two machines, we put 1 cup of water into each one and left the machines empty otherwise. Then we went ahead and checked to see how long it would take to pressurize both in high and low pressure modes. In high pressure mode, the Ninja Foodi Pro pressurized in about 4 minutes, while the smart lid version of the machine pressurized in 7 minutes. Taking 7 minutes to pressurize isn't really a deal breaker, but it was a little bit surprising and it was a lot slower than the old machine. We repeated the test in low pressure mode and it took about 2 minutes in the Ninja Foodi Pro. And once again, the smart lid version lagged behind and took about 4 minutes. We were trying to figure out why the smart lid version takes so much more time, And we were thinking that maybe it puts in a little bit more pressure than the old machine, because when we vented the two machines, you can see the steam coming out of the smart lid version is much thicker. In any case, that didn't seem to affect cooking time at all. One thing we really liked in the smart lid version is that you get a progress bar showing you how far along you are on your pressurization. And also when you're done cooking and releasing pressure, it does let you know whenever the pressure is low enough for you to safely open the machine. As far as comparison cooking tests go, first we hard-boiled eggs in both machines, then we dehydrated some beef to make beef jerky. Next we went ahead and made some ribs using a combination of pressure cooking and air frying. And following that we cooked up some chicken breasts using a combination of the pressure cooking and the steam and crisp mode. On the old machine there isn't a steam and crisp mode, so we ended up using the pressure cooking and air crisping. The finished product on every one of these tests came out almost exactly the same, and they all took almost the exact same amount of time. So as far as performance goes in actual cooking, the results were so close that we just go ahead and call that a draw. When we were testing the air crisp mode of the Ninja Foodi Pro versus the air fry mode of the smart lid version, we noticed that the smart lid version of the machine does produce more fan noise. Here's what the fan noise sounds like in the old Ninja Foodi Pro. And here's what that same fan noise sounds like with the smart lid. I don't know how much you can tell by the video, but definitely the smart lid version is louder. However, it's also a cleaner fan sound. You'll notice that the sound coming out of the Ninja Foodi Pro is a little bit more mechanical sounding, and the sound coming out of the smart lid version is much more whooshy, if that makes sense to you. So our opinion on the comparison of these two machines is this. They both do a great job in everything that they do. The smart lid version to us looks a little bit nicer, is more convenient because of the smart lid, and does have a couple of extra functions. However, it's also a little bit louder, and pressurization takes a little bit more time as well. If you already have one of the older pressure cookers, it's a little bit debatable as to whether you need to upgrade or not. Getting those extra functions in the smart lid are nice, but it may not be worth it to you to spend all that money again, especially since for the most part you're largely getting the same machine. If you don't have a pressure cooker at all, or you have a cheap one that you don't really like, then we would definitely recommend getting the smart lid version every time. For us, we didn't really care about that noise too much, and we don't really care about the extra couple of minutes it takes to pressurize either. If you want to see our full individual reviews of these two machines, we have them linked down in the description of the video, and also linked on cards up top here. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about us, you can check out a couple more videos, or you can check us out online at joesphenomenal.com. I thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day to watch this video. It really means a lot to me, and can't wait to see you back again here really soon. So until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.